Good morning / afternoon, Lake Orion. You are witness to the very first episode of the Johnsons on Lockdown. My name is George Johnson, and my beautiful wife, Bethany. She and I are here today to chat about all the crazy stuff going on with the lockdown. This is going to be episode 1 of who knows how many. And
all depends on you.
That's right. And we are fortunate enough to have the executive director of Orion Neighborhood Television, Mr. Ian Locke, with us here today as well. Yay!
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good. How's everything going with Ian these days?
Doing well. Appreciate you guys bringing me into your inaugural episode. This is, I feel special.
You and us both.
So we're just sitting in our kitchen, and we're approached by Orion Neighborhood Television because it's kind of a new program, outreach program, to try and get people to encourage people to use new technologies available. And Ian has been generous enough to lend us a good chunk of his time this morning getting everything set up. And we've just been chatting with Ian. And Ian, it looks like behind you, if you don't mind my saying, and I'm looking into your basement, it looks like you've got some pottery, and it looks like you've got a Strat on your right shoulder. That's pretty cool.
A guitar, yes. Music is my therapy and stress relief, and I've always loved music. You know, from starting as a teenager, like most of us, right? You find your niche and your tribe of people that love music, and I've played music since 5th grade, and I progressed to a guitar over the last 30 years and self-taught. So little wonky, little honky, not necessarily the greatest musician on guitar, but I have a good time with it, and I understand you play as well, and I think you would concur that guitar, you get kind of addicted to it. I mean, it's a drawing. It draws you in, doesn't it?
It is an addiction, unfortunately.
Ian, let me just tell you, we have a guitar in probably every room of the house.
I used to, but I was relegated to the basement. So,
yeah, I think they're probably except for the kitchen. I'm looking at the kitchen. I don't think there's one around the kitchen, but yeah, we have lots of stringed instruments. My kids love to play. Bethany loves to play. Everybody loves to play. So it's nice to have one on hand.
Which is great.
Well, Sage doesn't. Our daughter Sage doesn't, and neither does Bodhi. No. But Bodhi knows how to play. But anyway, so yeah, that's cool. So you've got a Strat, and then you have any other guitars, or?
I do. We were prior to going. We were in the green room chatting before the podcast began, right? And we're talking about other models of guitar, and I do have a Gibson Les Paul.
Nice.
Want me to break it out?
Yes.
What else are we doing today, right?
Yeah, right. What else are we doing?
I'm so used to formal meetings that, hey, this is kind of freeing,
Yeah, so this is really crazy. So this, as you're grabbing that, it's kind of an interesting, this is kind of an interesting statement. You and I have met each other, any number of times on soccer fields or whatever.
5K courses.
5K courses, exactly right. And I've never been to your house. And so this is kind of an interesting, I don't think I've ever been.
That's the draw of the Zoom. Am I right or am I right? People are interested just because they want to see where everybody lives.
Well, so I think 10 years ago that the technology was available, but look at this. I mean, now I can see into what you're allowing me to see it, and it's not creepy. I hope it's not creepy, but we're seeing each other's houses and things just via these things. And I know that we've had these for 10, 15 years, but we haven't been in the habit of using them. And I don't think people have been necessarily comfortable using them other than just on their phone. But here now we're doing more of a formal approach to this, and it's kind of fun.
It is, especially with, people you're friends with, and, you guys have been a long time volunteer at ONTV, and we always consider our volunteers and the producers and their families friends, right? I mean, you guys have goals, you bring them to us, and we work together and have a good time to try to get your message out. I know your daughters are talented singers and musicians, and they've been on the air at ONTV for years, and which is fantastic. And it is, like you said, the technology has changed to the point, I think it's mainly the internet has changed to the point that we can actually get images out that are moving without going, I mean, we remember the old days, what was that noise that used to go, you know, when you logged
Oh
into
yeah,
the
that's or like
the dial-up, right?
the dial up. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you can actually make connections. I just had a connection with my good friend from college. We played tuba together in the Spartan marching band years ago, and he's in Thailand teaching calculus at the American school out there. And so we checked up on him in Thailand and go, hey, how are things? And we had a 3-hour conversation, and I was taking a peek at what Thailand under the COVID lockdown is like. So, I mean, it's just mind blowing what we can do.
So let's see that Les Paul. Did you grab it? Ba-now. That's a USA made, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the. Okay, so we're gonna geek out now. I apologize to the viewers. So we were gonna geek out. So a Les Paul standard is kind of the benchmark, right? It's their main fleet model. And in, I think, about 2005, they did something really crazy. They made something called a standard faded. So this is a standard faded, and what it is, it's a Les Paul standard, but with a different finish. And they would sell them for ridiculously low numbers to the point where they had to stop selling them because people were just snatching them up from all over the planet, and they became kind of this rare thing. And I don't know are you an old Fleetwood Mac blues guy back with Peter Green? Did you ever follow
before Lindsey Buckingham and before all those guys? Yes,
absolutely.
In fact, listening to one, it's the album that came on. Anyway, it's got Peter Green on it.
Yes, so, right, Peter Green, right? One of the
guitar player, absolutely
greatest. And his famous guitar was called a Greenie, and it was a Les Paul. And this can recreate the honk of the Greenie. So, I mean, you have to put some, the honk of a guitar. I told you we're going to geek out. But it has that, on a clean tone, it has that Peter Green honk, as they say. So awesome. I got this for a steal, and it's fantastic. I highly recommend you finding one.
You're going to have to play us a song.
All I want to know is, can you play Sweet Child of Mine on that? That's all I want to know.
Ooh, I think I could when I was a junior in high school. But I don't know about you guys, or George, with your guitar playing. I'm, as far as my musical training, I'm formal on trumpet and tuba, right?
Wow.
Real sophisticated stuff. Not really. And I can read music and all that stuff with that, but with guitar, I want it separated from the formal training I ever had in music and have just fun. And this is hooky, right? Just play hooky with the guitar. And 30 years later, it's still difficult for me to remember entire songs, like playing covers and things. Yeah. But I love the backing tracks that you can find on YouTube that have to teach you the changes and the modes and the different things about music. And it's changed my playing like no other.
YouTube, you can get lost. There's so many lessons. You can on a song, you can do the bass solo, you can do a rhythm solo, you can do a lead solo, you can do it's just everything. You can get really into the weeds on that, which is super cool.
It is, and it's, back in the day, it's like if I didn't have the money for lessons, you'd have to. I lived out in the country, and it's like I'm driving half hour into town to try to get lessons from somebody, and it just didn't work out, But YouTube, I've learned more in the last 3 years from YouTube than I did over the last 25 of books and just noodling and figuring it out on my own. And I just love it. And my wife is wondering, what are you doing down there? And it's stress release, as we said. Music is, I have to have it. It's just one of those things.
I'm gonna say almost everything that you just said. Me too. I started in trumpet, learned formal how to play, notes and all that. This is the treble clef. I wasn't, as it doesn't go low enough, and did some piano and some other things. And now I'm playing hooky by playing guitar, but I absolutely love it. And what's really cool is two things that on the lessons, you go to a lesson and I'm like writing things down madly. I'm like, what's this? What's this? And getting it and going home and thinking, I forgot about that. On YouTube, if you find somebody who you really like, then you can get in there and figure out everything that they do and rewind it and rewind it and rewind it and rewind it. And you can do it at 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. or whenever they're not around.
Correct.
And if you get frustrated with something, you can throw it away and come back to it a year or 2 or 5 years later and say, all right, I think I'm ready for that now. Let's try it. It's so cool. Anyway, that's awesome. So we did go down
Kind of a tangent.
The music rabbit
tangent.
hole.
We don't have anything to start with, so.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We have an action-packed
No, I mean,
show for
we
you
haven't
today.
started on a subject, so you can't really say it was a tangent if you haven't started on a subject.
Good point. Good point. Very good. Very yeah. Yeah. Okay. So today, getting back to what we thought we'd write, what we have. So we have all these fun things that we want to talk about. First thing we wanted to do is just tell you about what we've been doing for fun. So some of this is going to be a little bit revelatory, reveals a lot about us. But anyway, yeah, some of this is going to be revelatory. So the first thing that we've been doing is Bethany and my daughters and my son have all been playing.
Well, we've resurrected Dr. Mario on. We actually played on Wii, but I think it started out on the GameCube, right?
Yeah. And what's it? What kind of a game is it?
It's kind of like a Tetris, where you match up the colors instead of shapes.
It's very
But it's addicting.
addictive.
So we have our little tournaments with that, but after a while, your eyes start to hurt, and your thumbs get sore.
You got to remember to blink because you're like, it's like so intense.
And then you're like, I just wasted an hour on this stupid video game.
We're all in the other room saying, come on, come do something with us. They're like, we've just got a minute.
But it's only 2 players, 1 or 2 players.
Oh.
So you can't play everybody at the same time, obviously. So you take turns. Like, I'll play the winner or I'll play the loser or whatever.
So did you resurrect that? That's an old GameCube game?
Yeah.
That's an old GameCube game.
That's what we decided.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So it's back like from the late 90s
I don't
or
know.
something?
We played it in
Anyway.
the early 2000s before we moved out here.
Yeah.
But one thing we've got all 4 kids are home with us. So there's
Yes.
6 of us, 2 of which are normally off in college. And so now that we have everybody here, the house is quite full and we're just all here. So I've had the kids take turns making dinner, trying new recipes. We've got 1 vegan and 1 gluten-free. So that's been interesting to make recipes that will accommodate all of those different,
And we just
things
had
that you have to be careful with.
our daughter who's vegan, her name's Ginger. She made an awesome dinner for us last night. It was all vegan and it had these glass noodles, or what are they called?
Mm-hmm.
Glass noodles. And then she made some kind of a coconut based kind of a sauce. I don't know what you call it, but it was fantastic. Really.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It doesn't always work out, but we eat it.
But the thing is that we've all had so much extra time that she's looking up these recipes online and we're buying all these crazy
And our other
ingredients.
daughter works at Kroger. Like there's only one of us who actually goes out and works because everybody else has to work from home or take classes or whatever. So she, her name is Cayenne. She works at Kroger in Lake Orion. And so we're always texting her all day long. Okay, bring home this, bring home that. We have spent more at Kroger during this lockdown than ever before.
I've gained weight. I'm just kidding.
She does get an employee discount, so that helps.
That's right.
Nice.
I have to tell you a funny story. So we shop a lot at Kroger. So my son and I are in, and I've got this 1973 Olds convertible. It's this gigantic boater, and it's cool.
The land
So we-
yacht.
Yeah.
Land yacht, exactly right.
Like as old as we are.
So we yeah, it's just a couple years younger. I was born in 71 and it's a 73. But anyway, so we take it, my son and I are out and we're tootling around and we're getting it kind of dusted off because it just sits in storage all winter. We pull into Kroger's, I punch in my number and it says, and it's like
He's
$1.
talking about the gas station.
I'm at the Kroger's gas station. Pardon me. We need to get gas. We're at the Kroger's gas station. Thank you. And I pull up, hop out. It says gas is $1.64. Now that to me is insane. $1.64 is insane. So I pop out, I punch in my number, and it says, because I'm a Kroger super loyal fan or whatever it is, 80 cents off a gallon, which brings it down to 84. Oh, it was $1.44 minus 80. It brought it down to 64 cents a gallon, which is, if you look at,
Gas was never that cheap when
No.
I was driving. I think I remember it like 97 cents, 99 cents when I was in high school.
yeah, in where I lived was Utah, it came down to 99 cents. And my dad said, son, it's never going to get that cheap. Well, A, it is cheaper. And then B, if you look at the time value of money and inflation and all that kind of thing, I figured it out. It's like 40 or 35 cents a gallon or something like that
Yeah.
in 1980s dollars.
Yeah, it's
So,
crazy. It's
it's
we
crazy.
had a volunteer send us a snapshot. She took a picture and posted it on Facebook. She was also at Kroger. Hers got down into the 70s. So, 70 some cents for a gallon of gas is
It was 64 cents a gallon. How does that work? 64 cents.
yeah,
Wow.
crazy.
But here's the funny part of this. So I had my son take a picture, and we had gone there after hours, right? And so we put all it in. It looks like it's going to all come up, but the lights at the Kroger place are closed. So I put the thing in I put the hose in the back, and I put the nozzle or whatever, and I go to shoot it, and 1 penny comes out. I'm like, what's going on? And it won't do anything. It goes, gives me that clicking noise. I'm like, what is going on? So I'm thinking, oh, don't tell me that I'm getting excited for nothing. Well, as it turns out, the place was closed. So the most they give you was 1 penny. So I got 80 cents off on 1 penny's worth of gasoline. So
lesson learned.
I was
Go to Kroger after
so
hours.
excited. But that's just how life works, isn't it? They get you so excited about something, and then they yank the carpet out from underneath you.
Yeah.
Oh, just another.
But you did get a picture of it.
I did get a picture of it when I was more in the jubilant phase of thinking, wow, 64 cents a gallon is not bad.
So now we have to earn all those points back.
Yeah. And this was and I was so excited because this was a gigantic 70s boater, like a 22 gallon tank. And so I was like, yes, I'm going to sock it to Kroger's, but no, it would not be.
That's the pricing back. I remember taking pop bottles back and having enough to fill up the car. You when gas was low enough that you could exchange your pop bottle returns here in Michigan were 10 cents since the late 70s. And you turn them in. We were the highest forever. I think we're one of the highest in the U.S. still to this day, and we had enough pop bottles that we could actually fill up a car, a gas tank, and there's your gas money.
That's crazy. Yeah. So other than these silly things that we've been doing around the house, we've been doing lots of long walks. We've been lots of root working out. You guys have been doing Zumba and stuff, right?
Yeah,
Or what's it called?
There's so much available online now. They've put it on even Amazon. You can do like little workouts for free on Amazon.
Yep. Amazon has some really
And
cool
obviously
stuff. Amazon
YouTube,
Prime.
What can't you learn from YouTube? So there's just
What's
so
cool
many.
about Amazon Prime is they actually have a workout schedule. So they have I don't remember the name of the lady, but there's one with the lady in it, and she's got it's a 21-day program.
Which I have yet to try.
But you're working on something else. In all fairness, but so anyway, it's kind of fun because you can go through that 10-day program and then you start it over again, and I guess that's 21-ish days.
So are you gonna do it?
No, I'm doing T25 with my man Sean T.
Yeah,
That's what
he's
I'm
back, eh?
Well,
Where's Billy Blanks?
I've got the DVDs from 5 years ago, and I still got those. But what I do is I have them off onto one little teeny screen, and then I have my big giant screen, and I watch Ozark or Money Heist. Now I've been watching, or whatever, and then I have that going in the background on mute. So then I'm just doing my thing and so forth, and that's kind of fun. My thing, that looks a little on the weird side. Anyway, so we're doing lots of exercising, and we're doing projects too. Tell them what we've been doing for projects.
Well, I repainted the master bedroom and the master bathroom, and now we need to get light fixtures and new door handles and towel rods because we want to replace the 90s brass. So that's what we've been doing. But it's got vaulted ceilings, and it was just quite a project to repaint all that.
And with the relaxing of the, some of the businesses, getting your home improvement materials is going to be a little easier. Home Depot and the other guys, the curbside pickup is handy now for a multiple, it started with groceries and now you have it with the home improvement side of things, so you can do curbside pickup. It's amazing how things have altered and changed in reaction to COVID, right?
Yeah. Well, that's actually what Cayenne does mostly at Kroger. She does the clickless shopping. So if you order online at Kroger, she's probably shopping for you.
Awesome.
pushes around this gigantic cart, and they have all these sacks on the cart, and each one of them has like a tag, I think, and she just puts it in there, and she's
Shops for multiple people. That's
and
all she does all
people
day.
love it.
I mean, I don't think that was around a few years ago, was it?
Maybe it was, but we weren't forced to use that. I think people have been screaming about that for years now, that you could shop online, but nobody took it. I mean, I kind
I
of
think
like
this has
shopping.
really changed the way we'll do business in the future. I mean, obviously we're going to get back to in-face, things, but a lot of this stuff they've probably found is easier, like shopping, like that. I don't know.
I think some parts of our economy have been damaged permanently by this forever and ever. I don't know how much, but my
Like
sense
giving
is
everybody money.
like giving everybody money. I think I mean, I'm going to be the first in line to get my paycheck where my check from the government comes, but you wonder where that money comes from. But anyway, I digress. That's a separate. But what I mean is that I think that there's certain things like I wonder, like a year from now, will baseball parks be 100% full? Will theaters?
What about
DTW?
I was talking to my friend about
DTE?
Disney World. She's like, oh, I don't know, because she lives in Orlando. I don't know. I'm like, what are they going to do? When are they going to open? How are they going to do it? She goes, well, I think they'll probably do it in stages. Like only so many people will be allowed in the park at first. And, so who knows? I mean, it may be where they have to limit the number of people that attend a gathering.
Yeah, rumor had it that Disney and other parks, the entertainment parks similar to Disney, they said they were looking at 50% capacity numbers. What are those numbers? And that's who gets in. So cutting down, attendance by 50% on purpose just to keep the numbers down. But still, I mean, 50% of a ton of people is a ton of people.
And will that drive up prices?
They already raised prices at full attendance, so I like you said, the certain economy, elements in the economy are not coming back, or they're going to be permanently changed.
That's maybe better.
It's just a new business model for a lot of people.
Yes, and I'm kind of encouraged because even the local businesses here in Lake Orion, I've seen them change so quickly to this new model of the curbside, or some are doing online, or they're looking at doing it, or working with other businesses to partner up into collaborative avenues to try to keep businesses alive. And Lake Orion was doing so well with their local businesses. I mean, they're hopping. It's great. There's a ton of things happening, and here at ONTV, we're always trying to promote those businesses, try to keep them going. I mean, we're there with the chamber and the DDA and that sort of thing. But it is interesting to see what is it going to look like, in 6 months. It's kind of what do you say, the moving target that we're in. We're just trying to I hate the cliche. It's a cliche now, but the new normal. But I'm interested to see what happens.
For sure.
I think that we were heading that way. I think the pendulum was
forced us to get there sooner.
Exactly. I think the pendulum was swinging that way, but we've had a gigantic push in that direction.
Well, I know for my business, I'm a realtor, and I was doing like video tours and stuff of homes before this all happened. But I've noticed like we can't physically go show clients homes right now. We're not considered an essential business, so we're not allowed to. So if as a realtor, if you have a listing and you don't have a video tour, or you don't offer some sort of seller Zoom tour, then you're probably going to miss out on a lot of clients who want to see that. And so I think that has really amped up my business as far as, other realtors are realizing, oh, I got to get more tech savvy if I'm going to be able to compete in this new environment, So I think it's interesting for my job anyway.
Absolutely.
I don't know about you, but
Well, as an investment advisor, I just chat with people over the phone, and they've been fine. They've met with me a number of times. They've already got a comfort level with them.
What about a first-time client?
I haven't gotten any. No, I take it back. I've gotten a few first-time clients, so that's been good. But most of that is because I work in an office that's fairly credible, so they're relying more on the credibility of the office and so forth, and that they don't necessarily need to meet me face to face, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and
So
we're kind of spoiled here. I mean, media-wise, we had all the tools at ONTV already. I just had to find a couple extra cables in my basement and a laptop, and here we are. But
yeah. So anyway, so we've got all these. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Ian. Did I just interrupt you? My bad.
no, not at all.
And I was going to say though, on TV is great about lending out their equipment because I know we've.
Oh my gosh,
benefited
we've
from
got
that.
equipment right now downstairs that we're going to be using
We've
for.
done music videos with it. We've done indie films with it. So
What else have we done? We've used your editing stuff. We've used your studio. We've used your green screen.
I mean, they just have
we
everything.
did a thing with the green screen. I don't know, about 3-4 years ago, where I think I played stand-up bass, and my friend Doug, played guitar, and then Ginger sang, and Bodie played congas or something like that. And we were all on a beach. It was all, virtual.
Well, that's like a Zoom background, right? So.
It is, yeah.
It was totally hysterical because I think it was like probably like right now it's like March or something, and it was just lousy outside, but we were on a beach. Let me tell you, it was pretty cool. Yeah. So kudos to on TV. You guys are awesome. So
I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words.
Well, I mean, especially since like so many things are shut down. Like my kids are bemoaning the fact that they can't go just get a library book at the library. Like we can. So, and we have stuff that we should have returned over a month ago, and we can't. So we're just like getting stuff online. So
that's been pretty cool.
We ordered books off Amazon, whatever.
So yeah, so some other things about us. We've had some challenges. I mean, I'd like everybody to believe that we live in a rosy, happy family, and I think generally we are pretty happy. But we also there's 6 of us, and our 4 kids are basically adults. They're all full-sized human beings. Yeah, teens and above. So they're all
13 to 21.
They all have their own needs. They all have their sleeping needs, their eating needs, their bathroom needs, their clothing needs, their washing.
And 4
clothes.
of them share one bathroom.
Yeah,
they love it. Don't let
They-
them tell you otherwise. They love it. Especially cleaning.
So yeah, so they've had to I've had to really make some adjustments, and that's been good. But we also try to do something together every day as a family. And I think sometimes it grinds on each other because it's like, why are we doing something? We just did something last night. But so we try to keep it light and happy.
Games, movie, walks,
recipes, like
making food.
making
cookies, desserts, whatever.
I tell you, the thing that you gain the weight most with is having a TV in the kitchen. Have a TV in the kitchen, and you'll gain a ton of weight. I'm just letting you know that. I have proof right here. Need it.
How much have you gained? We won't put that
About
out there.
some pounds, about 10 pounds. So,
Well, here's a sign my daughter put up in the pantry in our kitchen. And we've all of our friends we've talked to we're going through exactly the same things. There's always food on hand, and I'm not drinking as much water as I used to. If you're at the office, you have your coffee or you have your jug of water, and there's your break. Oh, my water's gone. I get up and go get my refresh of water. And here it turns into, well, I guess I'm hungry. What am I? So the sign was, you're not hungry, you're just bored.
Yeah.
And so.
That's right.
Right. So don't snack. So she hung it right there. And then it turned into a verbal argument with my daughter and son. And he would post another message going, "Are you sure about that?" And so that turned into a nice, fun 5-day back and forth quietly with notes. But the point was taken. We are. It's easy just to grab something. You think you're hungry, but really it's you're looking maybe your idle hands, right, as they say. So that's what's going on in our house. So, but I completely understand what you're saying about hey, let's do a family thing. You're like, So during the day we tried to separate a little bit, reading books and doing some homework on their own. I'm obviously sequestered in the basement, working most of the day, and my wife. You guys are talking about games. Puzzles are huge. And running short on in Amazon for puzzles. So puzzles are big. Puzzles are big at our house. So yeah, we're living the life you guys are too.
And it's crazy. You wouldn't think it'd be hard to get a puzzle, but it is on Amazon, just like trying to get toilet paper now.
Or a Nintendo Switch. We've been trying to get a Nintendo Switch, but you can't
You
get
can
them.
get the lights, but not the full version.
The console version, because Nintendo stopped making them for some reason. And so there's a guy on Craigslist that has one for $450. I'm like, does it come with any games? He goes, nope.
He just knows the demand is there.
I said, where did you buy it? And he goes, I bought it at Target one morning. They had a shipment of it. And I said, so how much was it? He goes, $300. And I said, so you're charging $450? He goes, yep. No,
Blind,
and like, I'm talking to him on the phone, and it's just silence after that. I said, yep. Like, what are you going to do about it? There's this big uncomfortable silence. I'm like, well, I guess that's that.
Hey,
it's an economics lesson, right? Supply and demand.
He'll pay it, I'm sure.
He said to me, if you change your mind, because I said, I think I'm going to pass. He goes, no, if you change your mind, give me a buzz back. I'm in no hurry to sell.
Yeah,
so
hold on to it.
He says, I'm getting a few more later this week. I'm like, where did those come from? They fall off the back of a truck or something, I mean, how did you procure said switches? I don't know. I don't know what he's done.
That's funny.
So we are going to introduce a younger, fresher perspective here. This is our son, Bodie.
This is our 17-year-old Bodie.
Hi.
He's a senior at Lake Orion and is going through all the feels of being a senior without any of the things that normal seniors have at this point in their career. So
I don't know. It's not
so he was doing Mr. LO, and then that was canceled. And he was gonna play in the pit at the play.
At the musical,
and that was canceled.
Yeah.
And he was in a musical or a play at Avon Theater.
And a musical.
And a musical, yeah.
And those were both canceled. And he had all these college tours set up. Those were canceled.
Yeah, it's not fun.
And we're wondering if prom is going to be canceled.
Jeez, when you list it like that, it's terrible.
And graduation ceremony. I mean, he did turn in a speech, so we'll see if they actually have the ceremonies.
Well, yeah, they were gonna do it just like later than they normally. Well, is it later or do they always do it around like? I think it's like early June. When do they?
The graduation?
Or it's in May normally, right?
No, it's June.
June.
Oh.
Yeah,
June.
first week of June usually.
Just a little closer.
So he didn't get to do any of his spring activities that he normally does. So.
Yeah, it's been not fun. I mean, we're surviving. It's just annoying,
It is.
I don't know. Yeah, I think this group is looking forward to college. Like they've already they've signed off on the senior year. It's done. They've made their peace with that, and now they're looking forward to the next step.
Yeah, which is I don't know. I mean, I would have liked a better send off, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and my daughter's the same way. She's senior at Lake Orion High School, and track is done. There's no spring sports are out, and I really can't agree more with they're looking to the next. What is next? She can't wait to get back to work. Doing Zoom calls with her future colleagues at MSU, in her program. So those are 3 days a week for 3 hours at a clip. And they're talking about, they started out with, hey, how are you? Getting to know you. Then it turned into, hey, I have a presentation about making coffee in different ways. Just they're entertaining themselves and getting to know each other before they even step on campus. Which is great. And, they're, hopefully these are her student colleagues for the next 4 years as they progress through their degrees. And now she says, I have, 10 new friends that I really know over the last 3 weeks from these Zoom calls. That again, we revert back to the technology discussion. But yeah, I completely understand.
And I don't know that they would have been as close if we didn't have the situation. Like my son was talking about, we didn't get to go on those tours and see those colleges, but he's been able to talk to directors and professors and
that's
students
true, actually. Yeah, so it's
maybe
just
like for an hour-long Zoom call with some directors, right?
Yeah,
and you wouldn't have been able to get that kind of FaceTime
before.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily better though. Like I don't think it's better, but it's just different. I mean, at least I do get to chat with them more, but I would rather see more of the college itself, more like I don't know how the cogs work, everything like that, but it just doesn't. I mean, you just get to talk. You talk to somebody from a program, and they're like, "Oh yeah, our thing is awesome, and we love this and that," and of course, they're going to be really positive about their own, what they have going on. But it's better to like see it for yourself and to figure out whether you actually like it or not. That's what I think.
Yeah, although he still has yet to commit. So
Oh,
Well,
I think if we had,
it's not as easy, and
Yeah.
that's not a big discussion at your house, is it?
It's been a huge discussion at the house. I'm sure it's with your house. Well, these guys have
well,
this.
she's already committed, it sounds like.
Oh yeah.
Probably knew she wanted to be a Spartan early on, huh?
It was close. We were looking at financial packages and the scholarship things, and because some schools really sell their programs well, and it helps out with some of the scholarship money that they want to throw for academics and that sort of thing.
I'm telling you, if you can get like a full tuition scholarship, that's really hard to turn down.
Absolutely.
So hard to turn. That's what we're kind of looking at now. And it's like free school, pay for school. I mean, it's really hard
Exactly. Yeah.
to look the other way. So
Yeah. We didn't put pressure on our daughter at all, on Abby. It was more, I mean, yes, we're a Spartan household. We both graduated from MSU. She knows the campus, but it was really the program. So she made the right choice, a mature choice based on the program. And so we were pleased with that. So now she's working extra hard to pay for the scholarship money that is now off the table.
She majored in
Political science and journalism. So going into the James Madison School of Political Science at Michigan State. It's a condensed program. It's pretty intense. So not my wheelhouse. But yeah. And are you interested in theater, or is that kind of your angle?
Yeah, no, I'm actually going to be majoring in acting, so that's kind of the kicker. That's why I still haven't committed, I'd say.
So it's different when you're looking at a career in the arts because you have to actually audition.
Yeah.
And there are so many programs around the country, and they might have a really good theater program, but not necessarily known for their academics. So it might be really easy to get into the school itself, but to get into their acting program is really difficult. It's very, very competitive. So
Interesting.
So it's very different and we went through this last year with his older sister. Same thing. She's in musical theater at the University of Oklahoma, and that's a nationally top ranked program, and it was super selective. There's 12 kids in her freshman class, so it's super selective. They have like hundreds, if not 1,000 kids auditioning for those 12 spots. So you can see that it's very, very difficult. So that's what we're coming up. He's gotten accepted to several programs, but it's like, if he wants to do something other than acting as well, like he's interested in science or whatever, is that a good school for that? Right?
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly not.
And the location is a big deal, and their contacts for after you graduate.
Parking.
They're literally just talking about like two schools. Like they're mentioning like two schools.
I haven't said any schools.
No, but you're just talking about like.
I know you know which ones are going back
exactly
to
what you're talking
He's not like. He's
You
like.
guys are funny, man. This is great.
But he's not like 4 that he's looking at now.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, everybody else in his grade probably is already committed.
Yeah. No, it's like she said, you have to basically apply to the school twice, once for academics and the other for the acting program. And it's just, every, I don't know, the way I see it, every school has their own little advantage over it. It's kind of like picking a phone these days. They all have like very slight advantages, but they all do the same thing. They all can still text and make phone calls.
That's an expensive phone.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, you still get a degree, you still get great teaching, I think. So it's just like, it's what little perks really give it for you.
Well, like scholarships are huge. Some schools gave him full tuition, some gave him, a certain amount.
Some gave him
another one in state I'm not going to mention gave him not very much.
Yeah.
So it's like, come on, it's the same student with the same grades,
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, it's just you have to live with it,
So
different people do it different ways. It's not up to us to decide that for them.
Well, but it's our it's our decision where you end
Yeah,
up.
well, of
so-
course.
What's amazing to me, though, is he's been able to spend a whole lot of time on all these different calls, and he's had the ability to be able to FaceTime and chat with people. And he's chatted directly with the directors. He's chatted with people that there was one school that knew about the other school, and this one professor said, I wouldn't go there. And then the other guy said, well, I wouldn't go there. And so he's going back and forth. He's talking to these people directly. And then on top of that, they're saying, if you want to, you can chat with so-and-so student. So he's been on the phone with a couple of students, and not for like 5 minutes, but like an hour chatting back and forth and really creating friendships with these people, strangely, in just like a first conversation, but also getting a real flavor of the university, at least from my opinion.
Well, yeah, no, it's just you gotta see as much as you can. I haven't done everything yet, but I've tried to get more, but yeah, like he said, a flavor for what the university tastes like, and I still have to do like some of these virtual tours and things, but I think I'll figure it out sooner rather than later.
I know they'd like you to.
No.
What's crazy is that we're all completely off schedule. Like, I don't like initially, I think the first week we're like, okay, everybody's to bed by midnight.
No, that wasn't the first week was like, woo, we're staying up late. This is it was like we didn't,
No, normal people are like to bed by 10. We're like, yeah, to bed by midnight.
No. I think a lot of people are staying up late these days. It's just like, well, no. So the first week, like the first maybe 2 weeks, I think we were just like, we didn't really know what to do. So it was just kind of like up in the air, which I think everybody was like, once it happened, it was just like, we were just like, what the heck? And then we didn't really have anything planned. We didn't necessarily do anything. So I know I laid around for the first little while, just didn't do anything. And then you guys started to say, okay, we need to get on a better schedule. Let's go to bed at midnight, which may or may not have set in,
That lasted one night. And then the next night, we're like, hey guys, let's get together and watch a movie. We just had dinner at like 10, right? And then we cleaned up the kitchen and we'd kind of done some other things. We'd all had naps. And so we're like, what do we do now? It's like 11:30. We're like, let's watch a movie. So I don't remember what movie we watched, but anyway, we watched it until like 2:30 in the morning. By the way, we've been watching all the Daniel Craig James Bond movies, and we've gotten through.
We still have to watch Spectre.
Spectre. So we did Casino Royale.
Quantum of Solace.
Wait for the new one to come
Skyfall,
out.
yeah.
Another Day to Die, right?
Another Day to Die.
Or
Yeah,
something like that.
Daniel Craig's my favorite.
We're not going to talk about.
Or is
who
it
the
Live
new
and Let
one
Die,
might
or
be.
is that an old one?
What's with it?
Never mind.
Anyway, so we watch this, and the kids are like, "Let's do Lord of the Rings," but that's not what we do. Like every Christmas, we always watch all the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit all the way through.
So,
Now
yeah,
that's the new one.
Yeah, that's a week of your life right there.
Yes. And if you watch all like the Peter Jackson documentary stuff, and it's like, well, we had to find this special flower that only grows in, on the naked hilltops of Iran for this, and import it and bring the guy. I don't know, all these crazy
I've
things.
never watched that.
I'm making that up. But anyway, you get there's some weird stuff.
He likes to embellish.
I like to embellish, yeah. So, but there is some really weird backstories to like everything. But
For sure.
But
Well,
so
I'm happy you guys are sharing this because I feel normal now. Our family feels normal. I mean,
I honestly feel like everyone has been doing.
it's the same thing. We tried to have the same schedule, just like you said, and it just fell apart. We still try to have dinner at a reasonable time.
what time, pray tell, is that? 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock?
It started at like 5:30ish, 6. And it's kind of gotten later and crept up, and it's cooking fatigue in our house. Like, what are we gonna cook now? And right? And it's like, what are we going to do? And who's gonna make the choice of what we're going to eat? And that's a whole drama. And
thankful for like curbside pickup.
we started doing it at least once a week, just to be diplomatic about it. But I'm so happy. I'm glad that we are experiencing similar things. It's the the machinations of what the family is now, and your time schedules and the activities, and It's like a mirror. I'm looking in a mirror over here.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So so at one point, but I do think the kids have spent now, I think the pendulum has swung all the way to the other end. I think they're spending a lot of time on social networks. So it was Sunday, wasn't it? I said, we're going to do no
Take away your
internet,
phones.
no phone. And they didn't really bat an eye. They were fine with that. Bodie still had some things he had to do work on.
I mean, yeah, I've been just trying to, AP tests are coming up for anyone who's taking AP classes, so I have to be studying for those. And then, yeah, that was actually
but that was fine. But I mean, yeah, other than that, we've been going to bed. I hate to say it, like 2:30, 3
Between 1 and 2, if not.
some nights.
Are you guys finding that it's difficult to go to sleep? I mean, I'm finding like I'm exhausted. Screen time really, it really drains you. Your eye fatigue, your mental fatigue, and all that stuff, right? I mean, it's different. And I find it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I go, man, I'm so tired. And you go to bed, and you're like, I can't sleep. And so it's just you're trying to find a balance and. Thank goodness it's nice and warm outside the last couple of days. You have the window open. I can hear the wind blow or the birds and, just something different. But it's so difficult to sleep.
Yeah. I don't know. I've used melatonin these past few weeks.
It actually works for me. Yeah.
I started eating turkey every night.
That would work. That would do it. That would definitely do it.
Bam.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But we've been talking about the fact that we haven't been able to leave, that we've been under quarantine. It feels like you hear about these stories about World War II where people have to stay indoors, like the bombing of London and places like that. It's nowhere near as dramatic as that. But for a while, it's weird to walk into a Kroger's and see an entire aisle toilet paper completely empty.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show that when there's food comes in all shapes and sizes and all kinds of, if you don't like baked beans, then go get Top Ramen. If you don't like Top Ramen, whatever. There's only one solution to your wiping problems, and that's toilet paper. And it just seems like that was the thing that really pressed the button, and a lot of people went, look, I think I can find food, I'm fine, looks everything but I don't know if I can envision a future without toilet paper. And that's the thing that they continue to go in and get. I mean,
it's so funny.
I saw a video of this girl, and she's jogging along, and she says, you've probably seen it, but anyway, she says, some guy drove up to me while I was jogging along. She's quite a good looking, 20-something-year-old. And she's like, he offered me toilet paper to flash him. Can you believe that? And she says, I can't believe that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. And she goes, yeah. She goes, it happened right over there. And she picks up her hand and it shows it. And she's got toilet paper in her hand. Should have happened right over there. She's got the toilet paper in her hand.
Oh my
but I mean,
gosh.
it's kind of funny because it's sort of like, what would you trade? At some point, somebody's like, okay, I got these bullets and I got these guns and I got toilet paper. What, gold? What do you got? All right, I'll take that chunk of gold, but it's only worth 3 rolls of toilet paper. And this is Charmin. I can see that there's this black market kind of a thing going on. But it's not as bad as Eastern Bloc, communist Russia and all that kind of thing.
Probably no different for
for some
like
people,
that, yeah.
For some people not.
Yeah, I don't even know.
But for us, man, it's like, who's got all this toilet paper?
I heard
after you've wiped yourself so many times and you put some home, I think that there's going to be a lot of people when this is all over with. We have just like a room full of toilet paper and they're going to feel really stupid. I hope they feel stupid.
They'll be
Well,
like,
it's-
I'm up for the
Well,
next
yeah, it
20
was such a
years.
weird thing. Like when this first started, I remember everyone just started buying toilet paper. I don't even know what the thought process is. Like, why that? I don't know. It was just something that everyone just started to stock up on. I mean, hand sanitizer makes sense.
That makes sense.
But, yeah, it's funny because those are the real winners right now.
Well, I heard somebody mention
Real winners right now.
they said our lockdown is like living in Russia in the 80s. I'm like, really? One, were you there? And and two, I don't recall seeing an armored tank sitting at the end of my neighborhood with armed guards saying, "You cannot leave."
Not yet. Not yet.
That's coming next week.
And I just don't see it coming to that, because it's like you can make your own decisions, and if whatever happens, that's up to you. They try to mitigate it, right? That's the whole point of us staying home. But I don't like the extremes on either side, but it's funny how you adapt, and we are adapting, and we're trying to get our garden up and running. So our Sunday was outside, no social media. We were doing yard work, and it was great, and got a little vitamin D, and planning on which angle the sun is coming in the best to plant our tomatoes. So yeah, I don't want to say, there's some things that I don't want to go away once we're out of this. Those things that you're doing together. Joe Johnson, our studio manager, mentioned, he goes, it's like we had to do this to get back to what it used to be. Right, you're having meals together as a family. You're buying groceries. You're baking more. You're doing all these game nights. You're doing other things. It can get like you said, family get-togethers. You're kind of like, how about we go separate ways tonight? Just because it can, everybody needs their space. He said, but it took something like this to get families back together to understand what family is and go through things that we took for granted when we were younger.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I would say, how many meals a week were we eating all together before this happened?
Well,
Oh gosh.
well, at the peak time of school, we don't eat together.
We never
That
ate
just
at all.
doesn't happen.
No.
Because
That's a very good point.
Everyone
Now
gets
every
home
night.
at different
Every
times.
night.
Everyone has different things to do at night. It's like I'm always swamped with homework, or whatever.
Or,
At this or
activities.
that, and so is Ginger. Well, they're not even home, but
yeah, they weren't even around.
So it's totally different, and I think we only ate together like on Sundays. That's bullshit.
If then.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes
I'm a little embarrassed to admit that, but that's kind of how crazy things got.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the modern kind of style. Everybody's go, 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 from work to activities to, all that stuff. And it was different when we were growing up, at least in my household. It was, we had dinner every night together. But now it's like, we always made an effort to try to do it. And then high school hit and it went out the door. It just didn't happen anymore. But now it's kind of fun, baking and all that stuff,
Yeah. No, and I think even the boys made some meals and had kind of learning for himself when he goes off to college. Not that you'll need it for the first year, I guess.
We call him the boy.
He's the only boy.
Yeah, I think my daughter has, what did she, I lost count now. Baking, she can bake 8 different things now. From gnocchis to bread pretzels to bread to cookies, all these different things from scratch. And
wow.
yeah, and she's just like, I want to eat this. I want to learn how to do it. And then we did fried rice, and it was great. So she's learning her skills, and she'll take that with her to college. And I said, just make me a big loaf of bread before you go.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, no, I've been trying to learn the same thing. So
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Just figure out where you're going to be next year.
well, you guys are making it really easy on me.
Are we really? Or is that those being
I'm
facetious?
just messing with you. It doesn't matter.
Okay. I don't know. These have been fun times, but I think like back to what you were saying, you get back to what it used to be. I think that when we were a kid, because there was only 3 channels and because you didn't have the internet, you didn't buy things over the internet. You didn't. You got the Sears catalog type of stuff. I actually remember seeing the Sears catalog when I was a kid, and I think it was updated. Or maybe no, it was at the JCPenney catalog.
Both. Sears was big. Had everything in it.
That time.
Had it.
Sears is gone now, right?
Yeah.
It's time to wind it up.
Time to wind it up. So, all right. Well, very good. Listen, it's been a lot of fun. We've bored you to tears once again. No, we've bored you to tears. Thanks to Ian, who is the executive director, Ian Locke of the Orion Neighborhood TV here in Lake Orion. Thanks a ton to him. Shout out to Joe Johnson, who also has been super supportive and helpful for us. My wife Bethany, my son Bodie, myself George Johnson. we've really appreciated this opportunity, and hopefully maybe this will carry on next week, or we'll do something else.
Hope
We'll
so.
see. Who knows? Thanks for your time, everybody.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Ian.
Bye, Ian. Have a good day.